If you use Trello but haven't yet touched automations, you're missing out on one of Trello's best features. So in this video, I'm going to show you everything you need to know to get started with Trello automations. Here I am within an example board, and I am tired of moving cards over into this list, opening it up, making sure that I add myself to this list, add a particular due date, maybe add a particular label. Instead, I want Trello to remember exactly what should happen so I don't have to do things manually and it can simply do it automated for me. So in order to do this, we're going to make use of automations. And whether you're a paid user or not, automations are available to all. So in my example, when I move a card into this drafts list, I want it to automatically add myself as a member, and I also want to add a due date 3 days from today. So to open up the automation menu, we want to come up to the top right-hand corner beside your profile picture, but to the left of the filter. And we want to find this icon called automation. By selecting this, it's actually going to open up a small menu, but we want to come here and select rules. Now, there are other types of automations that we can apply, but rules are by far the most common and also the most helpful. Now here in my automation window, you'll see that I have an awful lot of automations already configured. And the good news is when it comes to automations, you can create one automation and then apply it to other boards. So you can see that most of these automations actually were created somewhere else, but if they're applicable, I could easily toggle this switch and apply it to this board. So you can create an automation once and then apply it to multiple boards if desired. So to get started with creating our own new automation, we want to come up to the top and select Create Automation. And here it's going to tell us exactly the 3 steps we need to take. We need to 1, select a trigger, 2, select an action or multiple actions, and then 3, review and save that automation. So every automation starts with a trigger. We need to tell Trello what it should be looking out for. When something happens, this is what we want it to identify so it knows when to apply those actions. So we're going to select this big blue button, add a trigger, and then we're going to see a number of other options come up in front of us. Now, don't be intimidated by this screen. I know that there's a lot staring back at us, but it's actually a lot more straightforward than you think. First of all, at the top, you'll see that there are a number of squarish tiles. These are actually just menu headers, which group the number of triggers together. So for example, if I want to select a trigger related to checklists, I'm going to find it under the checklist menu. If I want something under card changes, I'm going to be looking under this menu. Now in our example, we are going to be looking at a card move. Remember, when something moves into a particular list, that's what I want the trigger to be. So under card move, I'm going to review the different options that are available down below. The first one says when a card is added to the board. Well, I don't want this trigger to execute when any card is added anywhere in the board. Instead, I want it only to trigger when it's added to a particular list. If I go to the second option down below, when a card is added to a list, this is exactly the one that I'm looking for. Now, a helpful note is that anytime that you see a square box, it means that there are other options available to you. For example, you'll see that it says when a card is added to. Added, when it comes to the context of automations here within Trello, means created, copied, emailed, or moved into the list. It really encaptures everything. And that is what I am looking for in my particular automation. Even if something isn't moved into that list, if I happen to create a new card in that list, I also want this automation to take effect. But if I hover over this box, you could see that I could choose something a lot more specific. Maybe I only want it to apply if it's created in that list, then I would select this option here. Now, we have to select which list that we are talking about. So I'm going to click inside this box, and here we can see the 5 lists for this particular Trello board. Now, I want this to apply when something is added to the drafts list, so I'm going to choose that option there. And then lastly, do I want this trigger only to apply when I move something into that list, or if anyone moves into that list? There's actually a third option, by anyone except me, which could be the case depending on the type of automation that you are creating yourself. In my example, I want this to apply regardless if it's myself or anyone else who's a member of this board. Now, once you've selected the settings that you like, we want to come all the way over to the right-hand side and select this blue plus button. And now at the top of the screen, we can see that we have created our trigger. When a card is added to list drafts by anyone, now we need to fulfill or complete that equation. What is the action that is going to take place? We are brought to a similar menu style, but often with many more options available to us. So what types of actions do we want to take place? In my example, we're going to start by adding a particular member. I want to be added to the card at this point. So I'm going to select the Members menu at the top. And then once again, we want to scroll down to see the different options available to us. The first one says Join the Card, but that's actually going to apply to anyone who moves the card. In my example, I want myself to be added, whether I'm the one doing the moving or if someone else does the moving as well. So I'm going to come down to the third one here, add a member or remove. That's another option available to us. We want to leave it as add. I'm going to say add a member, and here I can select the username. Now, since I'm the only member of this particular board, I'm the only option that comes up, but if there were other members of my team, they would be available there as well. Just like we did with the trigger, we want to come all the way over to the right-hand side and hit that blue plus button. So now we have added that action. I could hit save at this point, but remember, there's an additional action that I want to take place as well. So I'm going to select add another action. And in most cases, it doesn't matter what order you add the actions. All of these actions are going to be applied once this trigger has been satisfied. So I also want to add a particular due date. So I'm going to come over here and select this menu option titled Dates. And once again, I may have to quickly review the options available to me. No, I don't want to mark the card as complete, but this second one seems to fulfill my requirements. I want to set the due date, but not to right now or when the card is moved. I'm going to click on this Now Calendar option, and I've got an additional number of options available to me. So, as you can see, you can be as specific or as granular as you need be. This first one here seems to be the one that I want to select. Even though it says hours at the moment, I can hover over that option and choose one of the other options. In my case, I want it to be days, and I want it to be 3 days from when I move that card. You'll also notice that there's a little clock icon. If it is relevant to you, you can actually specify the specific time of day. But in my case, I don't really care. I just want it to be 3 days from when that move takes place. So I'm going to select that X, and now it's only going to apply to those days. I'm going to come over here and select that plus button, which will bring us back to this menu. Don't forget to come all the way over to the right-hand side, hit that blue plus button, and now we have both of those actions applied to this trigger. The very last step that you never want to forget is to come up here and select this blue Save button. We are now returned to the automation main menu, and the very first automation we see is the one we just created. And it is written out in sort of a sentence style, so it's easy for us to look at a glance and see exactly what that automation does. If I need to disable this automation, I can easily do that here with this toggle. And if I need to edit it, if I want to copy it, maybe make some slight adjustments to it, or just delete it, I have those options available to me here as well. Now, let's go ahead and close the automation dialog and see if this automation is working. I'm going to take this card here and drag it into the drafts list. And in about 2 seconds, both myself, I am applied to this card, and here you can see the due date of 3 days from today has been added. Now, if you're looking for further help in optimizing or setting up your Trello boards, why not let me know? I've helped thousands of small businesses set up and optimize their Trello system so they can work smarter without feeling overwhelmed. If you'd like to work with me, simply visit Simpletivity.com or click the link in the description down below. Thank you so much for watching today's video, and remember, you deserve to work without feeling overwhelmed.